Dry shampoos are not all bad. Here are a few tips on picking out some healthier ones. Go for a starch-based dry shampoo, particularly rice. I'll tell you why in a second. Alcohol-based dry shampoos will dry your hair out and make it more brittle. Starch-based dry shampoos don't do that. I like rice starch because the molecules are much smaller than cornstarch. So the molecules are maybe like this versus this. That matters, especially when you have dark roots, because the larger the molecules are, the more likely they are to leave a white cast or a white shadow on your hair and not absorb all the way in. Those smaller molecules that rice starch has also makes your hair feel less gritty when you have it in versus cornstarch. I actually have my rice starch dry shampoo in and my hair doesn't feel gritty at all. Rice starch also has healing properties for your scalp. There was a study done where they used sodium lauryl sulfate to agitate the forearms of volunteers. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a common ingredient in shampoos, in case you were wondering. What they found was that adding rice starch to bath water actually improved skin healing by 20%. Rice starch has also been shown to improve the skin barrier in patients with atopic dermatitis. What that means is that rice starch improves the function, health, and protective barrier of your scalp. Avoid fragrances unless you know exactly what those fragrances are made up of. Unfortunately, the US allows companies to use the umbrella term fragrance to cover up hormone disruptors and carcinogens. For example, my dry shampoo does have fragrance on the ingredient list, but I know the ingredients that make up that fragrance label, so I check them on the EWG and none of them are toxic. Fragrance labels are something you just really need to look into. Lastly, your dry shampoo can absolutely contain oil. This might be a little confusing because you're like, I'm trying to control oil, but let me just explain. Using oil on an oily scalp, like doing oil treatments, helps teach your scalp to manage its oil production. So it is really cool that you can get a little dose of that in your dry shampoo. My dry shampoo uses Abyssinian oil. Abyssinian oil is very molecularly similar to our own oils, like the oils our body produces naturally. So that means it's absorbed easily, it's highly compatible with your hair and skin, and it doesn't leave behind a really heavy, greasy residue. Remember, dry shampoos can trigger your scalp to produce more oil by stripping it too much. So adding oils and moisture back in at controlled levels with dry shampoo is a game changer. So in summary, go for starch, check your fragrances, and do not be afraid to use a dry shampoo that incorporates oil.